The orange smog here in New York City. Have you heard about it? Many cities on the East Coast primarily have this big blanket of orange smog right over the top of it. Our woke friends to the north in Canada, their forest fires got out of hand, and well, this is what we're dealing with. It's complicating some people's lives, but it's manageable. I'll tell you, it actually smells like wood smoke. It's not an unpleasant odor, to be honest. It's kind of weird when it seeps into the building, but outdoors, I can deal with it. Folks with respiratory issues, though, that's a real thing, a real complication. The White House is trying to exploit this, saying it's all because of global warming and the normal talking points that go with that. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a forest fire. This actually has happened a couple of times before in history, and for the time being, we can live with it, but it is pretty. It actually is pretty. It's a beautiful, interesting aura the city has right now. All right, now this.
Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation.
It's the first promise he broke, and he said his whole soul is in it. What soul is there? Look, we're hearing that Donald Trump might be on the verge of indictment. Seriously, the feds, over this ridiculous document situation. This kind of persecution, they're getting away with it. It's going forward. It's incredible. Hunter Biden documents all kinds of family corruption on that laptop. He's still walking around, going on trips on Air Force One with his dad. Yet Donald Trump is on the verge of going to jail again. They're going to arrest him. Are they? The details still being worked out. We are seeing these reports that he has been notified that he will be indicted, possibly arrested. Look, those people in the White House under Barack Obama, when they lost, I thought that they, would take it like men and women. They try harder next time, work on their messaging, figure out how they lost the confidence of the American people. But no, they went to work. They were already at work, Operation Crossfire Hurricane, but they brainstormed on how they could sabotage the presidency of Donald Trump. And they're still at it. His post-presidency, they are so scared of him, they do not want him coming back. I don't really understand why they are so afraid of him. I don't get it. It's strange, but it's personal. It's a little bit mental with these people. You ever had a problem with your boss at work? In corporate America, human resources, right? Let's say you just don't get along with your boss. Have you ever been in this situation? They don't like you for some reason. And then they start looking at every possible thing you did wrong, right? Did he come into work on time? Okay. Did he leave work early? Did he take a stapler with him? How can we get him? How can we get him? How can we get him? Well, that's unfair, obviously, and wrong. But that's the way life goes in America these days. And now it's not the HR department. It is the Department of Justice that has unleashed this person. I mean, my gosh, this is Jack Smith, the prosecutor. He has an assignment, I believe, from the President of the United States to get Trump. And that's what he's going to do. This is why one of the reasons why they really hate Trump. Because we love him so much, actually. There's never been a threat to their, I guess, corruption like this before. If I had a law degree, I would be volunteering my services. I'd be doing something to help President Trump right now. And that's what these two people should be doing, Christie and Mike Pence. They're both lawyers, and they both owe a lot, I believe, to Donald Trump. And they should both be using their talents to stop the insanity of this insane prosecution and persecution of Donald Trump. Instead, they're running for president. Fat chance, oh, by the way, not going to happen. And Mike Pence, wow, what a disloyal person. Everything he has, really. I mean, the reason why he can run for president is because Donald Trump made him vice president. And he's playing the media's favorite game, the January 6th game.
I believe that anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. And anyone who asks someone else to put them over the Constitution should never be president of the United States again.
So he's talking about Donald Trump. And I don't believe he was asking Mike Pence to suspend the Constitution. Good people can have totally different opinions about what the Constitution says. That's why we have a Supreme Court. We have brilliant people on the court. And they disagree all the time about what the words mean in the Constitution. 5-4 decisions. That's your opinion, Mike. Anyway, you've made your decision. You did it. Now you want the presidency? I don't think so. But anyway, more January 6th gamesmanship.
As I've said many times, on that fateful day, President Trump's words were reckless. They endangered my family and everyone at the Capitol. But the American people deserve to know that on that day, President Trump also demanded that I choose between him and the Constitution. Now voters will be faced with the same choice. I chose the Constitution, and I always will.
You chose your interpretation of the Constitution, all right? Again, peaceful and patriotic. Those were the big words from January 6th. They put you in danger. Give me a break with that stuff. It's all gone to your head, these fake news reports, right? You in that garage and you were somehow at risk. Look, a lot of January 6th is actually on Mike Pence. On January 4th of 2021, in the run-up to January 6th, he had a message to MAGA. I mean, we had concerns about the fairness of the election. Under the Electoral Count Act of 1887, we thought he had a lot of leeway. Could have possibly sent those votes back to the state capitol in Harrisburg. Hey, are these okay? Are they? Okay, you sure? Okay. Listen to what he said on January 4th.
I know we all got our doubts about the last election. And I want to assure you, I share the concerns of millions of Americans about voting irregularities. And I promise you, come this Wednesday, we'll have our day in Congress. We'll hear the objections. We'll hear the evidence.
We'll hear the evidence. I'll share your doubts and concerns. Well, not really. He already made up his mind. He could have said right there, hey, as the vice president, my interpretation of the Constitution and the Electoral Count Act of 1887, I can't do anything. He could have said that out loud. He already knew he wasn't going to do anything. I know that because I read his book. Here he is on the way to the Capitol on January 6th as he's describing the scene in a car with his daughter.
As our motorcade arrived at the east front of the Capitol, I saw thousands of protesters standing peacefully on the east lawn, just past a rope line opposite the entrance of the Senate. My heart went out to them. I felt compassion for all the good people who had come to our nation's capital having been told that the outcome of the election could be changed. They were cheering as our Suburban wheeled into the carriage entrance beneath the Senate steps. I turned to my daughter and said with a sigh, God bless those people. They're going to be so disappointed.
Well, on the 4th, why didn't you say something? You could have saved everybody the trip. This was we thought you had the the leeway to do something. You think you didn't? Fine. You could have told us. You already knew. You didn't make up your mind on the way to the Capitol. Anyway, so he announces for president with the cheesiest, lamest, most generic announcement video ever.
The land of opportunity, beacon of democracy, the shining city on the hill, land of the free, home of the brave, the United States of America.
Yeah, we know where we live. I don't get this. Most of it was filler like this. I mean, those are strong words, but we know that already. What are you going to do for us?
We can turn this country around, but different times call for different leadership. Today, our party and our country need a leader that'll appeal, as Lincoln said, to the better angels of our nature.
His plan seems to be shaking hands, meeting people, and doing photo ops. That's his plan. One more.
God is not done with America yet, and together we can bring this country back, and the best days for the greatest nation on earth are yet to come. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you. But I doubt this man's sincerity somehow. I do. He could have cleared things up on that day in Atlanta, and he didn't. All right, that brings us to Christie. Oh boy, really full of himself. Had the most bizarre event in New Hampshire, just kind of walking around, moping around, spinning around, and saying, well, dissing Trump. Let's face it, that's what he's all about. That's his whole brand now.
Smaller in the way we talk to each other, smaller in the way we look at each other, smaller in the things that we talk to each other about, smaller in the issues that we cared enough to get angry about.
Now, in his mind, this is a critique of how, Donald Trump sometimes insults people on social media or whatever, and these issues are small. I've been hearing this a lot from liberals and Republicans, that those of us who are concerned, say, about monsters hanging out with children, the drag queen situation, that somehow this is a side issue, it's a culture war, and there's really nothing to be concerned of. Well, Christie has children who have already graduated from school. For those of us with toddlers, this gives us nightmares. I don't know what small issues he's talking about, but this is real stuff. What's next?
Donald Trump made us smaller by dividing us even further and pitting one group against another, different groups pitted against different groups every day.
If Donald Trump, if you think he's small, Christie, you, or anyone else, tell them to look at Donald Trump's speeches. My favorite is the one at Mount Rushmore, July 4th of 2020. That is not a small-minded man. That is a great man with a great vision to make America great again. Watch that speech. If you've already seen it, I recommend it to Democrats or your Democrat friends. That is one heck of a speech and one great agenda. But Christie doesn't want to, this is the man who actually became famous by demeaning people.
You must be the thinnest skinned guy in America, because you think that's a confrontational tone. Then, you should really see me when I'm pissed. You have numbnuts like Reed Gashura, who put out a statement, comparing me to George Wallace and Lester Maddox.
And let me tell you something. After you graduate from law school, you conduct yourself like that in a courtroom, your rear end's going to get thrown in jail, idiot.
She should really be embarrassed at what a jerk she is.
So listen, you want to have the conversation later? I'm happy to have it, buddy. But until that time, sit down and shut up.
Wow. He's going to tell us to treat each other nicer or something like that. It's so phony. And he's not known for anything else. It's not like he was a builder. It's not like he was a great prosecutor. He's just a guy. What's next?
John Kennedy stood at a speech and said, with absolutely nothing to base it on other than his belief in us, that we're going to the moon. And we're going to the moon before the end of the decade. We didn't have a rocket. We didn't even know what an astronaut was. I'm confident he didn't. So how could he possibly have been so audacious to do it? He was that audacious because he was an American leader.
This infuriates me. This is what we used to call a pseudo-intellectual. He talked a lot about history, and he got a lot of stuff wrong, including what he just said about John F. Kennedy and the space program. So that big speech about going to the moon, yeah, he did make it. And on May 25th, 1961, here we go.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
And John Kennedy just did that on a whim. Didn't even know what an astronaut was, had no idea, had no rocket, had no space program. 3 weeks earlier, Alan Shepard became the first American man in space. Alan Shepard, very famous. So John Kennedy did not pull that out of thin air, all right? They were talking to NASA every day about, can we do this? Is this a thing? Yes, sir, it is. We have the Mercury program scheduled, then we have the Apollo program. We're all getting there, okay? That's why that line was in the speech. All right, what else?
What got me out of bed every day was that in public leadership in this country, you have a chance to do something great every day. You give men like me a chance to do something great every day.
That sounds not right somehow. You give me a chance to be great. This is not working, and it won't work. One more.
and that any of us who get the opportunity to serve are merely temporary stewards of that greatness who just want an opportunity to make it a little bit greater.
A little bit greater? It's great, and we just want to make it a little bit greater. That's your agenda. That's your goal. Have you looked around? Are you following current events? Civil society is in a total free fall, and you just want to make it a little bit greater? History hangs in the balance. We could lose the country. But then again, he works for management, very much so. This is an authorized hit, a mission to take out Trump. It will not work. What he should be doing, if he had integrity, quite frankly, would be railing against the horrific treatment of Donald Trump and the FBI raid on August 8th of 2022 and where it has gotten us. We are apparently on the eve, potentially, of Donald Trump being indicted for nothing. And yes, I told you last night, no one's talking about this, and it's so important. This was a setup. This was an absolute setup by the National Archives, the Biden administration, all a plot to get Trump.
The negotiation is over the next 2 years after any president leaves office. They're supposed to go through all of the records, and they're supposed to separate out what is personal, what is presidential. Right. Personal they get to keep. All presidential records end up at the National Archives headquarters in D.C. This ordinarily happens where NARA gets a facility in the town where the president has moved to. So in Chicago for Obama, down in Texas for the Bushes, and all of them are held in that facility. Here, what NARA did instead is they chose not to get a facility like that. They had GSA move everything to his house, and then we're asking him to immediately send everything from his house back up to D.C., where he wouldn't be able to go through them as convenient.
Incredible. And again, we looked it up, and this is important. For Obama, they rented a big facility, an old furniture store in Chicago. Yes, there were classified documents there. So Obama could work with the team there and get access, to whatever documents he wanted. They had a facility there in Chicago. Next, for George W. Bush, they got a facility in Louisville, Texas. And it was arranged that he would have access to it, and they would work together on starting January 20th of 2009, his last day in office. And Bill Clinton, all the way back to 2001, they did the same thing for him, got a facility near where Bill Clinton lived, near where the library would be in Little Rock. But for Trump, they just said, you're going to have to find some room for it somewhere in your house. And I could see how they would get away with this. I can see how they would get away with it. They didn't brief him. They didn't take care of him. They didn't give him the courtesy and respect that he so deserves. And it's such a shame. This is really happening. I feel like it's the Twilight Zone. I'm not pessimistic, though. We're going to make it through this, and so is he.